Hey guys, Nick here, and today we are going to be getting into part 17 of What If Madison's Family Joined Rick. Now, hope you guys have enjoyed the series so far, and now we are going to be seeing what job or why I kept Milton from getting a job, because the whole Abraham punching him thing really hit him hard. And this would be a dramatic change for Milton's character than either the story or me has ever done. Will he actually intend on killing Abraham, or will he get Eugene to help him? We will see right now. Milton is in his house thinking, and he really has just come to terms with the fact that Abraham just needs to go. He has plagued his mind too much since that whole incident at Washington. And so, Milton ultimately, against his better judgment, any kind of Milton, plucks up courage to go to Deanna and talk and ask where Abraham is. And, with that said, Deanna, thinking nothing of it, allows him to go to the place where Abraham and Daniel are with the construction crew and managing pretty much all the work. Then, the Walker thing happens, and that pretty much goes as you would expect. But suddenly, more start to appear. And this is strange because it seemed like the area was clear. But with Abraham and Daniel leading the charge, no one gets bit, even though no one did get bit before, to my knowledge. And no one is shot or anything like that. Because Abraham alone, especially with Daniel, are more than enough to take out even the more of the walkers that are surprisingly coming out of nowhere. And once everything is said and done, Abraham goes behind one of the trucks to just get a break and scope out at least one of the areas to see if he could find out where they were coming from. But while he's relaxing and scoping things out, he hears a voice telling him to put his hands up and drop his weapons. It's Milton. He's holding a gun, and he's holding it right, he's pointing it right at Abraham. And this seriousness and direct manner coming from Milton of all people would be very surprising. And you thought Eugene punching Abraham was something? Well, yeah, it's because Milton being around, at least in this story, makes that happen. But Abraham, thinking nothing of this, thinking that this is some practical joke, smirks at Milton, saying, like, you're not really gonna use bang! And Milton, surprising the absolute crap out of Abraham, shoots the ground right next to him, showing that he ain't playing no games. And this really shocks Abraham, because Eugene, that was one thing, but Milton, he seemed pretty much in the same ballpark. But then he starts to connect the dots as why that Milton might be doing this. But he asks for himself, being very confused. Milton looks him dead in the eye with a seriousness that makes Abraham step back a little, because this would be a very serious moment, especially coming from someone like Milton, and tells him that all he tried to do in Washington was protect his friend, even if he did lie, and Abraham took it too far, and now he's come to ultimately take him down. Abraham snaps at this, saying that it wasn't none of Milton's business, and although he's sorry for punching him and nearly killing him, he had no place, even if Eugene was his friend, to get into the business that they were in before they even met. And yes, he wanted to save the world, but you can't expect him to have not freaked out when Eugene lied. And Milton, yes, once again he admits that he's sorry for punching him and nearly killing him, but he's the one now taking this too far, wanting to kill him, and that he needs to step down and put the gun down. We could talk about this. But Milton just points it even further and even steps a foot closer to Abraham, showing that any part of Milton that was capable of listening, that niceness of him, that very thing that made Milton Milton, is gone. And he's about to take the shot and kill Abraham when all of a sudden, bang! A gunshot rings out. But who it hit is surprising. Right into Milton's stomach. Daniel is the one who shot. He had seen and even heard, since the conversation was getting louder, pretty much the whole conversation, and came to save Abraham. Bang! The next shot goes right into Milton's head, killing him. Abraham thanks Daniel for this, and ultimately he thinks he could have taken care of it himself. But, yeah, even he has to admit that this scared him, because he wasn't expecting this from Milton. But then gets worried, and is like, what are we going to tell Eugene and everybody else? Daniel just looks at his friend and says, well, there's no use in lying to them. I'm going to have to tell them the truth. Milton brought this upon himself. So, they go the way back to Alexandria. Now, let's cut to Glenn, Aiden, Nicholas, and that whole charade. Since Tara and Noah are not present here, because Noah's at the hospital, Tara's with the Saviors, it's a whole deal. Tyrese is taking the part of both of those people. So whenever the grenade goes off, Tyrese gets injured, but is still able to pull through and help, because Tyrese by this time would be decently strong, more strong than he was in the original story. Aiden dies, and then we get to the sliding glass door scene, which unfortunately means that Tyrese would die here. Kind of a fake out, I know, for him to really die literally in the same scene, but to be real, for him getting injured and taking the part of two characters, really, it's the only way forward for him. And honestly, even if I were to make him survive, at this point, with how the story's gone, there's not too much that would really make him, like, a key role in the story, if you guys get what I'm saying. And since Tyrese was much closer to the group than Noah, which I've touched on before, like with T-Dog and Bob and stuff like that, if it were any one of those people, then Glenn would beat Nicholas way harder. Noah might have been important to the group, but not as important as, like, main rules, like Tyrese and Bob and T-Dog. They were much more important. And they all just died beforehand. Meanwhile, back at Alexandria, Gabriel rats on the group, because I feel that nothing would stop him from doing so. Dale overhears this, being a very master, like, overhearer, especially with Rick and Shane and everything like that, goes to tell Madison, and then spread the word to Lori and Maggie, who are all in the same area and even possibly in the same house, because keep in mind, they all have the counselor rules. So, yeah, for one of them to not be in the house and overhear this like Maggie did, would definitely be overstepping it. And they all go and tell Rick about what's happened. Carol has just arrived with Rick, or not arrived, but just found Rick where he was, and he's walking with Shane and tells Rick and Shane about Pete abusing Jesse. And Shane, seeing Shane, gives Carol an idea. Just like my What If Rick Spared Shane remake, Shane is going to be the one to fight Pete here. Or not so much fight as in, like, pretty much just beat him to a bloody pulp like Ed. Because Carol remembers how he saved her from Ed back at the camp. So, asking him to do this? Walk in the park, really? And she asks him to do it because she feels more comfortable, not much more, but it just more natural for Shane to do this. And Rick agrees, because even though he didn't see it, he also thinks that since Shane dealt with Ed, this should be no problem. He doesn't have to get his hands dirty. And just before they're all about to just go their own ways, Shane, Pete, and everything like that, Lori, Maggie, Dale, and Madison all convey right in the area of where the three people are, and say about how Gabriel has just ratted out the group, and their time here could be in trouble. Now, knowing that there are two threats in this community to be dealt with, This puts Rick and Shane especially on edge, because they didn't think that something simple would have another little... It's just always something. It's always something. And Rick decides that the best thing to do, Shane can go deal with Pete, problem solved, and Rick will go with the others to talk to Deanna and sort this out and hope that it comes to nothing. We then cut to Daryl and Aaron, and accompanied by Alicia, Merle, and Gargiulio, who are all going on the run to find the people and then go to the place where all the trucks are and try and find the guy with the red poncho and everything. Pretty much everything that went down before, like I've touched on, except Alicia, Merle, and Gargiulio are accompanying them. But something really important we need to talk about, which will be the closing for this episode. Morgan. Because if you guys remember, because of the whole Dwayne thing and Madison and Strand being around, especially, and Travis being killed by Morgan, do you think that Morgan will never meet Eastman and be a vengeful man looking to find Rick and kill him? Or do you think that when he does meet Eastman and try and save Daryl and them, that the group will just kill him for what he's done to Travis and tried to do to everybody else? Will he be the Morgan that we knew before, or a much more vengeful monster? And that's where we're going to be leaving things for the moment. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and like always, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more. Comment a suggestion in any of my videos or community posts, etc., etc. Check out a Discord, and you'll have to type in my name because I couldn't get a proper link to my site. But anyways, aside from that, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you guys later.